I agree that those all count as releases, but like let's just look at like a full new game.
Okay.
There's 5 with Age Console, Minecraft Legends, Redfall, Forza Motorsport, and Starfield. And just with those 5, I think that's a very good output for a first party perspective for brand new games in a single year. And that's what
Yeah.
they obviously want to do going forward for like every year. They want to at least have 4 games quarterly. And I thought logically, I thought by 2023 they would be able to get to that point because when you acquire a bunch of studios, it takes a while to get everything working. But it's almost like the entire Redfall thing made people forget that the output is there and it is coming. And a lot of these games are actually going to be getting good review scores. Like Forza Motorsport is going to do very well. Starfield's going to do very well. I think Minecraft Legends did like average. Then you got Hi-Fi Rush. So I think personally the state of Xbox right now is in a very positive spot and a very exciting spot for things to look forward to. Um, but yeah, that's I don't really know where I was going with that, but Sarah, what do you think?
I was gonna say I just think also Microsoft sometimes they don't get a lot of credit, and it's especially because of what they're currently doing right now, which is they're trying to make games not for like a specific audience. They're trying to make games for everyone, and some of these games, like a lot of like the people we see on Twitter, they're used to wanting a certain type of game, so they kind of dismiss some of these games. But some of these games have like huge community. Like look at
Hmm.
Age of Empire, look at Minecraft, look at these games that continue to get support. Like Lou mentions that they're more expansions, they're not releases, but they have huge audience. And what they're doing is they're I feel like they're kind of locked with a bunch of games that they have their fan base. They just need to retain them, and now they can focus more on single player games. And every so often, maybe they'll come out with that new that new experience for those people that like those multiplayer games. But I feel like now they kind of have that burden out of their way where they can concentrate more on their single player game. As if you look at the competition, they're dying to have these type of games. And they're having trouble trying to do that. They even had to buy
Yeah.
Bungie in order to make these type of games.
Phone
Yeah.
stars.
Yeah. Film stars. It's actually kind of interesting. I was thinking about this. It's like the PlayStation and Xbox are literally in the exact opposite place right now in terms of what they need to do to kind of continue to succeed. Because PlayStation, they have all the single player stuff, and now they're focusing on the games as a service and multiplayer. And obviously, that's not what their core fan base wants. So they're kind of pissing off their core fan base right now. But they have to do it because it's where all the money is. And if they just continue making one and done single player games, they're going to fall behind by a decent amount. Whereas Xbox has already built up so much in multiplayer and so much in games as a service that they have that luxury right now to kind of sit back and invest a lot more into the single player stuff. So I think we're going to be getting some actually very good single player
Yeah,
experiences and a lot of
yeah,
RPGs, which is incredible. I mean, it's literally the box for RPGs. If you like RPGs,
yeah.
even with
I was gonna. Oh, sorry. I was
I was
gonna
gonna say
add real.
Avowed was the one that slipped my mind that's coming out next year. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna add real quick that even if you look at Microsoft like single player games, a lot of they're single player games, especially these large RPGs. Like players are gonna invest hours and hours on these games, so they're not these games that you know that's also a problem that kind of Sony has to address
Yeah,
if they want to get into the the live service, because a lot of these games you can player would they can just purchase it and probably beat it within a week. And even if they do decide to add them in, you know if they do decide to add in the servers like day one, like this might be a problem because instead of the players buying it, they could just rent out a month and they're for sure they can beat it within a month, these single player, story driven experience. So then after that, what? They're just gonna unsubscribe. So I think, Xbox is well positioned in terms of service because of that.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because of kind of where they both position themselves. I think Xbox is better positioned for the future.
Yeah.
I mean, there was another interview with I believe it was just after the showcase they had like an interview with all the executives, and Phil Spencer was actually talking about where they are right now, and he's saying that they're doing better than the 360 era by like a decent amount. Whereas a lot of people sit back and they think of Xbox and it's like 360 was that time that was probably the most nostalgic. And that's when Xbox was their biggest, is when they were the most popular. But right now, with the stuff that they've done with expanding out and having games everywhere, they're clearly far more successful. And they said that they were making like $1 billion here on PC, or going to make $1 billion on PC. And Sony is sitting back and they're looking at this, and then they're they know they have to continue going down that route. So they've started PlayStation PC. They just came out today, and PlayStation is actually going to be allowing people to stream games directly to their PS5, so don't have to download them, which is an interesting first
Hmm.
bigger step, I guess, into the cloud for them. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting how everything shapes up.
And then they know everybody's heading over there because they're gonna tell. So they look how Xbox is expanding. I mean, in the interview with Phil Spencer, he was talking about how he looks at PC players, which is something that Sony is not taking for granted, and they need to take that for granted, especially when they pull a game. Like for example, you pull a God of War that came out. How long was it? The first God of War, was it 2018? Was it 2018? I think it was.
Yeah, the first one, yeah,
It came out in 2018, right? And
yeah.
so you got God of War that came out in 2018. You released in 2022, and you already sold 4 million copies on PC. That's insane. Horizon Zero Dawn, when it got on PC, you got up to 20 million sales. So you're losing that market right there. And I love how Phil Spencer pointed out, and I love how he was talking on Game Pass. That Game Pass on PC is actually bigger than the console. He pointed that out in the interview, which is amazing. I mean, it shows you how Game Pass is opening, how Game Pass is going, and how further and how far it's expanding. And something that's incredible. I mean, it's already on Nvidia. What where else is it? There was another one, I forgot the name. Is it is I don't
Yeah,
remember.
they've given
Yeah,
first party Xbox games like Boosteroid, which is a
yeah,
company they
Booster.
signed a deal with, Enware, Nvidia GeForce Now as well. So, but Nvidia GeForce Now specifically, they came out and they said PC Game Pass, which I believe is every game available on PC Game Pass, not just their first party stuff, is going to be able to be streamed through Nvidia GeForce Now, which is kind of smart because if you only have PC Game Pass, you don't get access to cloud gaming. And most people who play, or a lot of people who play on PC, they just solely play on PC. They don't have a console, so they would never get that cloud feature. But now they will have that option with Nvidia GeForce Now, so it's